Hello friends, welcome to our Eliot and price action courses. We begin with Eliot's wave theory. Eliot introduced wave theory in the first half of the 20th century. Examining the prices in the market, he found that the price changes are quite regular and follow a special structure that is in harmony with nature. Eliot believed that in any field where there was a lot of participation and activity, the movements were based on a natural rule that he called wave theory. Eliot, with the help of his intelligence, was able to formulate a set of principles and rules by examining the diagrams of the Dow Jones industry, which at the time justified all the movements of the financial market of that time until 1940. In those years, when investors believed it was impossible for the Dow Jones Industrial Average to break the 1929 ceiling and experience even higher numbers, Eliot predicted the market situation for decades. As R. N. Eliot observed, wave patterns form larger and smaller versions of themselves. This repetition in form means that price activity is a fractal. Eliot waves have a fractal structure. Fractals are in fact geometric structures consisting of components that, by magnifying each component in a certain proportion, obtain the same original structure. This means that each accelerating wave consists of 5 microwaves, and each correction wave consists of 3 microwaves, and by combining these 2 waves, a higher order wave structure is formed, which itself includes 2 accelerating and correction phases. In other words, each accelerating wave contains microwaves of the same phase, and correctional waves include microwaves of the same phase. This repetition leads to the creation of large patterns that have a small pattern structure. Wave 1 subdivides into 5 small waves, yet is part of a larger 5-wave pattern. How is this information useful? It helps traders recognize the maturity of a trend. If, for example, prices are advancing in wave 5 of a 5-wave advance and wave 5 has already completed 3 or 4 smaller waves, a trader knows that this may not be the best time to add long positions. Instead, it may be time to take profits or at least to raise protective stops. Since the wave principle identifies a trend, counter-trend, and the maturity of a trend, it's no surprise that the wave principle also signals the return of the dominant trend. Once a counter-trend move unfolds in 3 ways, A, B, C, this structure can signal the point where the dominant trend has resumed, namely once price action exceeds the extreme of wave B. Knowing precisely when a trend has resumed brings an added benefit. It increases the likelihood of a successful trade, which is further enhanced when accompanied by traditional technical studies. The complete Eliot wave cycle is classified into 2 types of impulse waves labeled 5 and correction waves labeled 3. Impulse waves consist of 5 waves, 3 of which are impulse waves and 2 of which are correctional waves. Correctional waves must be more complex and time-consuming than impulse waves. Impulse waves have 2 types of trending impulse and terminal impulse. Correction waves have 6 structures, which are zigzag, flat, triangle, diametric, symmetric, complex correction. Impulse waves rules. Impulse waves are divided into 2 general categories based on the degree of correction of wave 3 by wave 4, as well as the internal structure of the waves. No part of wave 2 and 4 can ever correct wave 1 and 3 100% respectively. Wave 3 can never be the shortest wave among waves 1, 3, and 5, and must end beyond the end of wave 1. None of sections 1 and 3 of the wave should cross the 2-0 channel line. Nanowaves 3 and 5 should cross the channel line for 2. Wave 5 must return at least 38% of wave 4. Wave 4 should not correct more than 61.8% of wave 3. The total price correction of waves 2 and 4 is usually 100%. For example, if wave 2 corrects 38% of wave 1, wave 4 will probably correct 62% of wave 3. Extended impulse waves. These waves usually consist of 5 microwaves. Normally, between waves 1, 3, and 5, wave 3 extends. Waves 1, 3, and 5 cannot propagate simultaneously. To confirm extended waves, the extended wave must be at least 1.618% relative to the shortest impulse wave. Otherwise, we most likely have a correction pattern. Also, the correction wave after the extended impulse wave should correct it less than 161.8. When wave 1 extends, then wave 2 must be more complex than wave 4. In this case, wave 2 should not correct more than 38% of wave 1. When wave 2 is larger in price and time than wave 4, our channel lines will be convergent, and when wave 4 is larger in price and time than wave 2, our channel lines will be divergent. When we have one extended, wave 5 cannot be. When we have wave 1 extended, wave 5 cannot be larger than wave 3. There are 2 general and important rules when we have extended wave 3. 1. Wave 2 cannot correct more than 61.8% of wave 1. 2. Wave 4 cannot correct more than 38.2% of wave 2. When wave 3 extends, we expect wave 3 to be more than 161.8% of wave 1. When wave 5 extends, wave 3 is at least 100% equal to wave 1. In this case, wave 4 is bigger than wave 2 in terms of price and time. When wave 4 is larger in price and time than wave 2, the channel lines will be divergent. Impulse waves consist of 5 waves, 3 of which are impulse waves and 2 of which are correction waves. Impulse waves have a 5-wave structure and correction waves have a 3-wave structure. As you can see in the chart, this is a 5-wave impulse rally that we have identified with the labels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1, wave 3, and wave 5 each have 5 waves that can be seen in the lower time frames, which represent the fractal structure of Elliott waves. Wave 1 contains the impulse wave of 5 waves. Wave 2 has a corrective structure and its combination is 3 waves. Wave 3 has a 5-wave structure. Wave 3 is an impulse 5-way wave that has 5 waves in its sub-wave structure. Wave 4 has a correctional structure which has a combination of 3 waves, and impulse wave 5 has 5 sub-waves at lower time frames. We have 3 main rules in impulse waves. 1. Wave 3 can never be the shortest wave among waves 1, 3, and 5. 2. Wave 2 can never reach the beginning of wave 1. 3. In impulse trending waves, wave 4 cannot enter the range of wave 1. As you can see in the chart, wave 4 has a large price and time time range than wave 2. In other words, if we have a complex wave 2, we expect to have a simpler wave 4 and vice versa. If we have a simple wave 2, we expect to have a more complex wave 4. In trending impulse waves, each of the 1, 3, or 5 waves can be extended. In some cases, the trending impulse waves can have 2 extended waves in waves 3 and 5. As you can see in this picture, wave 5 has been extended in this impulse trending rally. In this picture, as you can see, we have an impulse trending rally that has all the necessary conditions. Wave 3 is not the shortest wave, and wave 2 does not correct 100% of wave 1. Wave 4 has not entered the range of wave 1. Ideally, none of waves 1 and 3 should intersect the 0 and 2 trend line. Not should any of wave 3 and wave 5 intersect trend lines 2 and 4. Wave 1. One way to detect wave 1 is to break the previous trend. Also, the motion of wave 1 is usually sharp. Wave 2. The 62% and 79% Fibonacci retrieval wave 1 ratios are very important to identify the possible end of wave 2. If we see the formation of the ABC pattern in wave 2, by implementing the projection Fibonacci on wave A and the extension Fibonacci on wave B, the final cluster of the main wave 2 will be obtained more accurately. The formation of the Gartlian bat pattern at the end of this wave is probable, and we also often see a hidden divergence at the end of wave 2. Wave 3. To identify the possible end of wave 3, the 162% Fibonacci ratio wave 1 projection is very important. To identify the possible end of wave 3, the 262% Fibonacci ratio of wave 2 extensions is crucial, and it is possible to form a crab pattern at the end of this wave. Wave 4. In general, if the 4 ABC structures are not formed in the wave, the cluster at the end of this wave is obtained based on the following techniques. 1. Draw the 38% and 50% Fibonacci ratios of 1 to 3 wave. 2. Draw a Fibonacci ratio of 38% and 50% wave 3. 3. Draw the ratio of 100% wave 2 projections. 100% ratio is of particular importance here. Based on items 1, 2, 3, we identify the possible cluster at the end of wave 4 and the probable area for reversing the trend. If we see the formation of the ABC pattern in the ventricle of the fourth wave, in addition to the above 3 cases, we also use the marker wave techniques of the fourth wave as follows. 1. Drawing wave A projections. 2. Drawing wave B extensions. And wave 4, if it reaches less than 38% of wave 3, we're probably dealing with wave of 4, in which case 533 or 535 structures are likely. Wave 5. To identify the possible end of a wave 5, the 100% Fibonacci ratio of wave 1 projection is very important. Key point. The 162% Fibonacci projection ratio is wave 1 for cases where wave 5 is extended. To identify the possible end of wave 5, the
38% and 62% Fibonacci ratio, 1 to 3 projection is very important. Of the two ratios, 38% is much more common in the Forex market. To identify the possible end of A5, the 127% and 162% Fibonacci ratio wave 4 extensions are crucial. Of the two Fibonacci ratio of the two ratios, 162% is much more common in the Forex market. The 424% Fibonacci extensions of wave 2 is very important to identify the possible end of wave 5. The 262% Fibonacci wave 2 extensions ratio is mostly used to identify the end of wave 3 and the 424% Fibonacci wave 2. Wave 2 extensions ratio is mostly used to identify the end of wave 5. In addition to the above techniques, the usual proportions of the Fibonacci expansion wave 1 technique are also very effective in identifying the end of wave 5. Remember that the Fibonacci ratios of our last swing are earlier. They also help us identify the end of wave 5, and the Fibonacci extension ratio of 424 of our last swing is of popular importance.